Grounding and bonding are both crucial for metal roof coverings. Grounding connects the metal roof to the Earth's electrical ground system, utilizing elements like grounding rods. This establishes a low-resistance pathway for electrical current, which is vital in the event of a lightning strike or any other electrical fault. The primary purpose of grounding is to safeguard the structure and its occupants from the dangers of electrical shock. Bonding, on the other hand, involves connecting the various metal components of the roof together. This includes elements like panels, flashing, and gutters. Bonding ensures that all metal parts maintain the same electrical potential. This prevents the buildup of voltage differences between the components. By maintaining a uniform electrical potential, bonding significantly reduces the risk of arcing and subsequent electrical fires. In essence, grounding provides a path to earth for fault currents, while bonding ensures that all metal parts are at the same potential, minimizing the risk of shock or fire within the roof structure itself. Consider the metal roof as an expansive conductive surface exposed to environmental electrical hazards. The importance of these safety measures becomes evident. Now let's delve a bit deeper into the specifics of grounding and bonding to provide a clearer understanding. Grounding, as mentioned, is about creating a direct electrical connection to the earth. This connection is typically achieved through the use of grounding electrodes, commonly referred to as grounding rods or ground rods. These rods are driven into the ground and connected to the metal roof structure using a grounding conductor, which is usually a copper wire or cable of appropriate size. The size of the grounding conductor is determined by electrical codes and standards, such as the National Electrical Code, or NEC, which provide guidelines based on the size of the electrical service and the anticipated fault current levels. The NEC, a widely adopted standard for safe electrical installations, provides specific requirements for grounding and bonding in Article 250. It outlines the methods and materials that must be used to ensure a safe and effective grounding system. The goal of grounding is to provide a low impedance path for fault currents to flow back to the source, which in turn causes the overcurrent protection device, such as a circuit breaker or fuse, to trip and de-energize the circuit. This rapid de-energization prevents prolonged exposure to dangerous voltage levels, thereby protecting people and property from electrical hazards. Now let's shift our focus to bonding. Bonding is all about creating an electrically conductive path between all metal parts of the roof structure. This ensures that all components are at the same electrical potential, minimizing the risk of voltage differences that can lead to arcing or electrical shock. Bonding is typically achieved through the use of bonding jumpers, which are short lengths of conductive wire or straps that connect the metal components together. These bonding jumpers are typically made of copper or aluminum and are sized appropriately to handle the anticipated fault current levels. The NEC also provides specific requirements for bonding in Article 250, outlining the methods and materials that must be used to ensure a safe and effective bonding system. One of the key considerations when bonding metal roof components is to ensure that all connections are mechanically sound and electrically conductive. This means that the connections must be tight and free from corrosion, which can impede the flow of electrical current. To achieve this, it is common practice to use listed and labeled bonding connectors that are specifically designed for the purpose. These connectors are typically made of corrosion-resistant materials and are designed to provide a reliable electrical connection over the life of the installation. In addition to bonding the individual metal components of the roof, it is also important to bond the roof structure to the building's grounding electrode system. This ensures that the entire roof structure is at the same electrical potential as the earth, further reducing the risk of electrical hazards. This bonding connection is typically made using a grounding electrode conductor, which is a copper wire or cable that connects the roof structure to the building's grounding electrode system. The size of the grounding electrode conductor is determined by electrical codes and standards such as the NEC, which provide guidelines based on the size of the electrical service and the anticipated fault current levels. Now, let's talk about some specific examples of how grounding and bonding are implemented in metal roof installations. Firstly, the metal roof panels themselves must be securely bonded together. This is typically achieved by using bonding jumpers that connect adjacent panels together. The bonding jumpers should be installed at regular intervals along the length of the panels, and they should be securely fastened to the panels using listed and labeled bonding connectors. Secondly, any metal flashing around chimneys, vents, or other roof penetrations must be bonded to the roof structure. This is typically achieved by using bonding jumpers that connect the flashing to the adjacent roof panels. The bonding jumpers should be securely fastened to the flashing and the roof panels using listed and labeled bonding connectors. Thirdly, metal gutters and downspouts must be bonded to the roof structure. This is typically achieved by using bonding jumpers that connect the gutters and downspouts to the adjacent roof panels. The bonding jumpers should be securely fastened to the gutters and downspouts and the roof panels using listed and labeled bonding connectors. Fourthly, any metal equipment mounted on the roof, such as air conditioning units or solar panels, must be bonded to the roof structure. This is typically achieved by using bonding jumpers that connect the equipment to the adjacent roof panels. The bonding jumpers should be securely fastened to the equipment and the roof panels using listed and labeled bonding connectors. It is important to note that the specific requirements for grounding and bonding metal roofs can vary depending on the local electrical codes and standards. Therefore, it is always recommended to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer to ensure that the installation meets all applicable requirements. In addition to the NEC, other relevant standards and guidelines may apply, such as those published by the American National Standards Institute, or ANSI, and the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEE. These organizations develop and publish standards that address various aspects of electrical safety, including grounding and bonding. For instance, IEE Standard 142, also known as the Green Book, provides recommended practices for grounding and bonding of electrical equipment in commercial and industrial facilities. This standard covers a wide range of topics, including the design and installation of grounding systems, the selection of grounding conductors, and the testing and maintenance of grounding systems. It is important to understand that proper grounding and bonding are not just about meeting code requirements. They are also about protecting people and property from electrical hazards. A well-designed and installed grounding and bonding system can significantly reduce the risk of electrical shock, fire, and equipment damage. Therefore, it is essential to take these measures seriously and to ensure that they are implemented correctly. Now, let's consider some common mistakes that can compromise the effectiveness of grounding and bonding systems in metal roofs. One common mistake is using undersized grounding and bonding conductors. The size of the conductors must be adequate to handle the anticipated fault current levels. Using conductors that are too small can result in excessive voltage drop and can prevent the overcurrent protection device from tripping in a timely manner. Another common mistake is making poor connections. Connections must be mechanically sound and electrically conductive. Loose or corroded connections can impede the flow of electrical current and can increase the risk of arcing and electrical shock. A third common mistake is failing to bond all metal components of the roof structure. All metal components, including panels, flashing, gutters, and equipment, must be bonded together to ensure that they are at the same electrical potential. A fourth common mistake is failing to properly maintain the grounding and bonding system. Grounding and bonding systems should be inspected regularly to ensure that all connections are tight and free from corrosion. Any damaged or corroded component should be replaced immediately. In addition to these common mistakes, there are also some specific considerations for metal roofs in areas with high lightning activity. In these areas, it may be necessary to install a lightning protection system to protect the building and its occupants from lightning strikes. Lightning protection systems typically consist of air terminals, down conductors, and a grounding electrode system. The air terminals are installed on the roof and are designed to intercept lightning strikes. The down conductors carry the lightning current to the grounding electrode system, which dissipates the current into the earth. The NEC provides specific requirements for lightning protection systems in Article 250. In summary, grounding and bonding are essential safety measures for metal roofs. They protect against electrical hazards and ensure the safety of people and property. It is important to understand the principles of grounding and bonding and to follow all applicable codes and standards. By taking these measures, you can significantly reduce the risk of electrical shock, fire, and equipment damage. Remember to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer to ensure that your metal roof installation meets all applicable requirements. Always prioritize safety when working with electricity. Furthermore, it's vital to understand that simply installing grounding and bonding systems isn't enough. These systems require regular inspection and maintenance. Over time, connections can loosen, corrosion can occur, and components can become damaged. These issues can compromise the effectiveness of the grounding and bonding systems, increasing the risk of electrical hazards. Therefore, it's recommended to have a qualified electrician inspect your metal roof's grounding and bonding system at least once a year. During the inspection, the electrician will check for loose connections, corrosion, and damaged components. They will also test the resistance of the grounding system to ensure that it's within acceptable limits. Any issues identified during the inspection should be addressed promptly to ensure the continued safety and effectiveness of the grounding and bonding system. Another important aspect to consider is the potential for changes to the electrical system over time. If you add new electrical equipment to your building, or if you make any modifications to the existing electrical system, it's essential to ensure that the grounding and bonding system is adequate to handle the increased load. This may require upgrading the size of the grounding and bonding conductors, or adding additional grounding electrodes. Again, it's best to consult with a qualified electrician to determine the appropriate course of action. Finally, it's worth noting that the information provided here is intended for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it's always best to leave it to the experts. If you're not comfortable working with electricity, or if you're unsure about any aspect of grounding and bonding, please consult with a qualified electrician. They will be able to assess your specific situation and provide you with the appropriate recommendations. Electrical safety is paramount, and it's always better to be safe than sorry. Remember that codes, standards, and best practices can evolve, so staying informed about the latest requirements is essential. Electrical codes are updated regularly to reflect new technologies, research findings, and safety concerns. Staying up to date with these changes will help you ensure that your electrical system is safe and compliant. There are various resources available to help you stay informed about electrical codes and standards. The NEC is a valuable resource, and it's available for purchase from the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA. The NFPA also offers training courses and certifications for electricians and other electrical professionals. Additionally, many state and local governments have adopted their own electrical codes, which may be based on the NEC or may have their own unique requirements. It's important to be familiar with the electrical codes in your area to ensure that your electrical system is compliant. Ultimately, the goal of grounding and bonding is to create a safe electrical environment for everyone. By following the principles of grounding and bonding and by working with qualified electrical professionals, you can help protect yourself, your family, and your property from the dangers of electricity.